This is for Muthannah. It says, hello, are you a rabbi? I am not a rabbi. I actually want to know more about Judaism for my own general knowledge. If you don't mind, can you please explain me more about Judaism? Well, there are no Jews here in my country, but I don't know if there are any Jewish expatriates living here. Regards. Well, I don't know. I'll try to do what I can in 8 minutes. Judaism is basically a religion started by Abraham, our forefather, who walked around in a world of idol worshippers and people who were kind of acknowledging different forces within nature. When they wanted rain, they would pray to the rain god. When they needed the sun to come out, they would pray to the sun god. And he said to him this was absurd, and there has to be a deity that's above all deities, a god of gods, if you will, a supernal, a eternal being that's above everything. And he started worshiping one god. And at first he was given a lot of rebuke. His life was on the line at one point. He was thrown into a fiery furnace by King Nimrod, who was from Cush, who was from Ethiopia, because of this belief, and God made a miracle and he survived. He withstood several challenges in his life. His wife was abducted at one point. The ultimate, there was a famine in his land, but the ultimate was when God told him to sacrifice his only son to him. God eventually revealed that this wasn't his ultimate plan, and his son survived, Isaac. And Isaac was, and he kept making many converts to this new religion of praising one God. He would invite people into his tent, and when they wanted to thank him for the food, he would say, "Don't thank me, thank God. He's the provider of everything." So he was the one who introduced monotheism into the world, really. And Isaac was his son, and his son was from there Jacob. He had a twin brother, Esau, but the heritage, the lineage went to Jacob. And Jacob had 12 sons. These are the 12 tribes of Israel. And from them come all the Jews. And also Judaism also accepts converts into the religion, although it's not a simple process. But so that's basically the main crux of our religion is that the Jews were for a long time enslaved in Egypt for about 210 years, and then God remembers them, and he sends Moses, the greatest prophet of all time, into King Pharaoh's court, who was the most powerful man in all time, and he demands the release of the Jewish slaves, and King Pharaoh refuses at first, but through a series of 10 plagues, finally the last plague being the death of the firstborn, King Pharaoh says, "Okay, you're cursed onto my people. I don't even need the slave labor at this expense. You've now killed at least one person in every single household," is how the plague worked. So please leave our midst, and they left. And God took them 49 days later to Mount Sinai, and he spoke the first, I think the only time in creation that God had an audible voice, and it was the Ten Commandments. According to one opinion, it's the first two of the Ten Commandments. Basically, there was an audible revelation to the entire nation of Jews, and God began to explain the laws which he thought should be governing the universe, and the laws which govern the lives of the Jewish people. And the Jews spent the next 38 years going into the desert, walking into the desert, and elucidating from this laws and how they would apply their to everyday life. And it's been that happened 3,320 years ago, and this tradition has been going on since then. At this day and age, at this point in time, from different estimates you hear, the most I've heard, about 20% of the Jewish people are considered Orthodox Jews, consider themselves to be Orthodox, meaning still maintaining their practice of what the Torah dictates should be governing their lives. And the rest are what we call secular Jews, or it could be conservative Jews, or Reform Jews, or Reconstructionist Jews. There's different manifestations of not being Orthodox. But basically Jews that don't hold that Torah law needs to play a part in their life and should dictate their lives. It's very strange. I think the Holocaust is to blame. Once Jews were kind of rounded up for being Jewish and put to death prematurely, I think a lot of Jews, at least subconsciously on a certain level, said, well, if this is the case, I'm not going to honor your Sabbath, I'm not going to keep your laws of kosher. How could you possibly repay me, considering what my ancestors went through, considering what I myself went through? But there are great leaders in our generation, like the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and like Rav Moshe Feinstein, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, and Rav Soloveitchik, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, who brought back many Jews. And that's basically, so we're governed by the laws in the 5 books of Moses, and as they were extrapolated further in the Talmud, and in the code of Jewish law, and there's even an abridged code of Jewish law, and there's many what we call minhagim, which are like practices, not law, but practices that have become synonymous with law, according to your different sect and where you're from. Our ultimate dream is the Messianic redemption, which is basically having a planet of world peace, and where there's no one who lacks physically what they need, like a time of world peace and abundance for all physical creations, a time where the temple, which was twice where the temple stand in Jerusalem, this temple will be rebuilt in the days of the Messianic redemption, and we once again be free to sacrifice animal sacrifices on a daily basis to God. And it'll be a time of supernal wisdom on the planet for everyone. It says that in those days, the prophet says that the knowledge of God will cover the earth like water covers the ocean floor. So it'll be a manner of without bounds, and even the deepest secrets of the Torah, even simple people will know, and will be able to use our intellect to decipher the greatest, most loftiest revelations that in previous generations they couldn't even hope to aspire to get. It says, in those days your eyes will not be concealed from your teacher. And the teacher of the Jews is God himself, really. And we won't be able to see. God doesn't have any physical manifestations, as it were, but we'll be able to understand and comprehend godliness in a way that was never done before. That's what we're hoping for. That's what we pray for 3 times a day. A Jew prays 3 times a day. His diet is restricted on certain levels from the Torah. I don't know what else. We come from all different countries. We've been expelled from different countries, even in 1948, they established the United Nations, established anyway a Jewish homeland in Israel, but even that has seen nothing but war and strife and struggle, just to exist. But that's basically it. The people of about 3,320 years since the revelation at Sinai, and if you have any further questions, more detail, I would be happy to answer. Thank you so much, and God bless.